It's time for a cup of coffee with Will and Chris at Slumberland Furniture. From Slumberland Furniture in Osage Beach, here are your hosts, William Holtz and Chris Schneider.
Hope you're ready for your weekly pick-me-up. It's time for a cup of coffee with Wild Will, and that's not Uncle Chris. J.R. Hartenstein from Lake Ozark Real Estate joins us. What's going on, buddy?
It's a beautiful day at Lake of the Ozarks.
Filling in for Uncle Chris, who's on vacation. We got an action-packed show we're going to talk about. Apparently, Camden County is declaring war against the United States government. You want our guns? Come take them. Essentially, we'll talk about that. Plus, JR, were you at all surprised by some of the local election results?
Yes.
A couple of the races were closer than I had anticipated, so we'll talk about that. Plus, we talk about all the new developments in the show every week. Someone who is right in the know, in the mix, JR, we're going to talk about some of these new developments. Seems like weekly we're seeing something big is coming to the lake.
Yeah, and there's a lot more acceptance for TIF these days.
Which we'll talk about. TIF, what that means, do we like TIF, and what you should know about that. Plus, we're going to talk with Connie Hendricks-Jones from the Forget-Me-Not Horse Rescue and Sanctuary, incredible nonprofit organization out there in Lynn Creek. Plus, we're going to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about the Topsider condo project, which has come to fruition. You guys have seen that incredible, iconic property, and we're going to talk about if there's any units left. So those of you watching, good news, there is a unit or two left. We'll talk about that and a whole lot more. But first, this from Slumberland at the Lake.
Hey everyone, Daryl Cunningham with Slumberland Furniture at the Lake. We're in the middle of our spring spruce up sale. What does that mean for you? That means savings for every room of your house. Also, check out our tent. Still have tons of great outdoor living furniture at a great price. At Slumberland, we're still doing interest-free financing along with our great deals. Come see us, Slumberland Furniture, where we're bringing happy home.
All right, so as we get started this week, pretty crazy. You probably saw the press conference, Lake Expo's article, and Camden County leadership is not folding when it comes to the ATF. JR, so the story came out Friday. The ATF had been sending emails to Camden County Planning and Zoning Commission, and they were hoping to get some assistance in obtaining information about local businesses. And Camden County, they're not going to play. What do you know about this situation?
Well, the leadership in Camden County does not recognize any authority against the Second Amendment. First of all, we have the state statute that says that nobody can assist an unconstitutional department. I think the framers were pretty clear when they said, shall not be infringed. I don't know, how could you have made that more simple than shall not be infringed?
Right.
Should they have said something a little... Did you see Idiocracy?
No.
Oh, well, it's just like, maybe shall not be infringed is too complicated for today's people, but they said shall not be infringed, and evidently the leadership in Camden County takes that literally.
Yeah, as we're seeing, they hold a press conference after this request. Friday, Camden County Presiding Commissioner Ike Skelton, as well as James Gohagan, Don Williams, with our sheriff, Tony Helms, they had a press conference on the stairs of the Camden County Courthouse, and they basically mimic what you just said, and they even wrote a letter. And here is the letter. It was an open letter and pretty impressive. It reads, Mrs. Burkowski, on or about Tuesday, April 4th, the 4 emails you sent our Planning and Zoning Department requesting information about citizens in this county with their licensing status were forwarded to me for review. Under the anti-commandeering doctrine, Camden County was the first county in Missouri and possibly the country to pass an ordinance prohibiting any county employee from assisting your unconstitutional agency in violating the rights of our citizens. God-given, constitutionally protected right to keep and bear arms. As well, Missouri passed, as you alluded to, the Second Amendment Preservation Act, having a $50,000 penalty for assisting the federal government in the enforcement of unconstitutional firearm infringements. Therefore, I construe any attempts to receive information about our citizens pertaining to firearms as an attempt to coerce our employees to break Missouri law. You may consider this letter as a response to your probe. It was signed by Commissioners Ike Skelton, James Gohagan, Don Williams, as well as County Attorney Jeff Green, Treasurer Kendra Hicks, and County Sheriff Tony Helms. A bold statement, bold move, and I believe exactly what the people of Camden County have elected them to do.
Well, they certainly believe that. I would have ended it with, oh, and have a nice day.
Oh, you would have added a little bit of it. But you know what's crazy here, JR, is this is after in November 21, the ATF raided Skelton Tactical. And so this is near and dear to Presiding Commissioner Ike Skelton's because his brother was, I believe, indicted on 15 charges. Still legal battles going on. He's on probation, I believe. His whole world has been wrecked. And so this is near and dear to not just Ike Skelton, our presiding commissioner, but the entire community, because you remember the ATF, when they raided that, Camden County didn't know about that. And they basically said, listen, we don't care about statute, we don't care about law. When we want to do something, we do it. And the ATF did that at that point. And so Camden County doubling down on their stance, saying, listen, not here. You want our guns, you want this information, come get it. And the real stamp is the fact that our sheriff, Tony Helms, is right there in the mix, signing this letter, part of that press conference. And so what do you make of this? Is this something that can hold up and is legitimate and will prevent the ATF from gaining access to the information they want? Or is this all smoke and mirrors and more of a PR stunt?
Well, I think that this is a fight that a lot of us are ready to have. The ATF, by its very definition, and according to that letter, is unconstitutional. So, you know, they wiped out his brother's livelihood and his retirement. So obviously there's a sensitivity to that. I'm not saying that's what motivated him to run for presiding commissioner, but eventually, you know, governments always turn tyrannical. So, you know, do we take up this fight or do we leave it for our kids? You know, I think that's where we're all at. So
there's enough people here that say we'll take that fight up so our kids
Lord,
don't have
yes. Good Lord, yes. That's why they're always spraying us. Why we're always coughing.
Okay,
they don't like us.
Let me ask you this then. So, to the citizens of Camden County, you and me, not elected officials, that we like this move. We were behind this move. We want our elected officials and leaders to take this stance. But what are we supposed to believe that our local officials and our local law enforcement agencies can do when the ATF wanted to come into Skelton Tactical back in November of 21? Where was our county? Where was the Missouri State Highway Patrol? Where was anyone? Couldn't do a thing about it. And so taking this stance and not giving that information is great, but what happens when the ATF, the military, the federal government are ready to come in? I mean, is that when you say that community's ready to pick up their cross and fight? I mean, what is it? What's going to happen?
Well, I think most people want to go along to get along, so I don't know at what point the sheriff heard about the raid, but it would have been great if he'd have said, let's go over there and turn these people away. And that didn't happen.
But could he have?
Well, so far as I know, the sheriff is the sovereign of the county. And if he deems an entire branch of government, an agency, if you will, unconstitutional by definition, like most people that I know do, then I think it may be a really tough choice. I wouldn't have wanted to have to make that choice, but right is right and wrong is wrong. Right. And it seems that perhaps maybe the sheriff is a little more emboldened now with new leadership in the courthouse. Mm-hmm. Perhaps.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, because I love the move. I think that's big. You are seeing federal agencies, the federal government, overstepping and basically throwing the Constitution out. They're not governing based on what the Constitution says. And so I love that small level, our elected officials that speak for you and me are taking this stance. And so it's crazy. The fact is the ATF sending emails to planning and zoning asking this information. That's ludicrous in itself, correct?
It's just lazy. It's lazy. You could have gone on Camden County GIS and found out what zoning each of those addresses was. They're just not smart enough to know about it, I guess.
Gotcha.
Every county has a GIS website.
So you don't think there's more there? You don't think it's a smoke and mirrors or a game or a warning to Camden County or a, hey, we're watching you, you've resisted enough? You don't think there's more going on?
Not with sensitivity to Camden County. I'm guessing they probably do this to all of their license renewals.
Gotcha.
I don't know that we need to take it personal, but I think the leadership in Camdenton took the opportunity to shine light on it.
Yeah, and say, hey, if you're going to go after us, that's unconstitutional, you're unconstitutional. We're going to make sure people are aware of what's happening and let our people know how we're going to run the county and how we're going to be your voice.
Well, the letter says that you're asking our employees to break state law, and we're not going to allow it. And I like the fact that they threw the adjective unconstitutional in there. And the word God with a capital G. That made me happy too.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. We're seeing it get pushed out everywhere, and I think the consequences and side effects are overwhelmingly obvious in this country as we see things unfold. Okay, so as we move ahead, still local, talk about election results. Last Tuesday, big elections. You had school boards, you had mayor, you had aldermen, you had sales tax, you had big money issues on the ballot. And as we look at the results, JR, were there anything that stood out to you that was crazy?
Well, start with the marijuana tax. That passed most places 2-1 or 3-1. Everybody was wanting that money for sure.
Yeah.
Which, if you've been following the marijuana legalization push over the previous decades, you've always heard that if they make it legal, then we have an opportunity to tax it. So that was to be expected. What surprised me was the Lake Ozark mayoral race, which was way closer than I thought.
Oh, yeah. You had Dennis Newberry, the incumbent, who was reelected, but by a count of 249 to 200 over Johnny Francesco's. But how did Johnny get 200 votes?
I don't know. I didn't see any of his signs. I don't know. It was still technically a landslide, 45 to 55% turnout. But when you consider that when he was a write-in, he got more than 50%.
With two other candidates.
And two other guys who neither one hit 0.25% or a quarter of the vote.
Yeah, because there's no doubt in my opinion that Dennis Newberry is the obvious and overwhelmingly clear choice for mayor. What the state of Lake Ozark is incredible.
There's no question.
The outlook for the next 5 to 15 years for the city as great as it's ever been. And so what I want to know is, where did these 200 people come from?
Voter fraud.
Maybe. I'm like, were these the people that voted for Biden between 3 and 5 a.m. back in, it's just weird.
When we went to bed, Dennis Newberry was ahead 90%. And then we woke up, he was down to 45%.
When I went to bed, Dennis Newberry had 260 votes. When I woke up, he had 249 votes. No, but that was closer.
That was surprising. That was really surprising. So I think Dennis would probably tell you that he may have lost some capital through nightly rentals and support for the casinos.
Yeah, I could see that. And I think a lot of that is just lack of knowledge, like people not understanding. And that's going to bring me to our next race, or our next topic. Before we do that, the school boards, I mean, unbelievable. Camdenton, you look at the third seat, Callie Hensey, that held on and retained her seat, but the second, or the next, was only 6 votes back. In between the first and fourth, they were separated by 11 votes. Shelley Creed at 1392, and the Walrus at 1381. Timothy McNitt, of course. I know him more as the Walrus. That's what I'll call him. Yeah. I mean, is that not crazy how close that was? The school board race? I mean, same with School of the Osage. Carrie Hunsuter Anderson, 716.
It's not surprising to me that they're close races because there's not that many people voting. You generally have 15% turnout, which I don't mind. I'm the only one in the county that seems to be okay with that. To me, if somebody doesn't want to vote, I don't want them voting.
Right. Don't force them to vote and have an uneducated...
I don't really go for that. You got to vote, you got to vote, you got to vote. I don't really care if they know it's time to vote. If they don't even care, I don't want them voting because they're obviously not really concerned.
Informed and educated on the matter. But so I was surprised at some of the closest. The use tax, City of Laurie said yes. City of Versailles said no.
What was the use tax?
I believe it was on marijuana, the sales tax, how it was going to be used. Because here for sales tax on marijuana, what we don't understand is the difference is one is medicinal is going to be taxed differently than recreational. And currently they're taxed at the same. And so this proposal is that they would raise the recreational sales tax for the people that don't want to get a medical card. And that additional increase would then be earmarked or dedicated in these areas towards something. So like Sunrise Beach, it's earmarked towards the police department. That extra sales tax or percentage on the recreational marijuana. So the use tax...
City of Laurie, that was a majorly huge margin there. Every place else was like 2-1, 3-1. They're practically 10-1 in Laurie.
Laurie's big. Camdenton was similar to the others, about 33-66. But yeah, city of Laurie was a landslide by percentages. But
There's a lot of oldsters in Laurie.
And 83 people decided that, only 17 of them said no. And honestly, that doesn't mean you're pro or against marijuana. You could love marijuana and not think that the recreational marijuana should be taxed differently, so you may vote no on that. So that doesn't really tell you that those no's are
I don't have a problem with sales taxes. I would be willing to fund everything through sales tax, because the nice thing about sales tax is it's voluntary.
Yeah.
Unlike property tax.
Right.
I guess property tax is voluntary in a way, just don't own a house.
Right. That's one of the weirdest things.
Income tax is not voluntary.
Get too far down that. All right, so
maybe some other time.
We're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we got Connie Hendricks Jones from the Forget Me Not Horse Rescue and Sanctuary, gonna tell us about some of their upcoming events.
Hey, we've got another great Lake TV Community Spotlight show brought to you by COMC this week. We've got Jill Durnan with us. She is the director of LCTC, that's the Lake Career and Technical Center, teaching kids and even adults how to be ready for a working life and a successful working life. So join us. It's the Community Spotlight Show on Lake TV.
All right, as we welcome you back, I get to welcome one of my favorite organizations at the lake, the Forget Me Not Horse Rescue and Sanctuary, and we have Connie Hendricks Jones with us. Miss Connie, it's been a while. How we doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. We're getting busy out there, and lots of stuff going on, getting ready for summer.
Yeah, you guys have a ton of stuff going on. I'm going to start with the first, coming right here at the end of the month, and it's your first annual Appreciation Gala, so tell us about that.
Okay, it's an adults-only event from 6 to 8 p.m. on April the 29th. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be wine and cheese and kind of a lot of hors d'oeuvres, and we'll have some speakers, and we'll have a demonstration with one of our horses. Of course, it's a rescue horse. And we have a lot of information for people that don't know what we're doing and why we're doing it and all that.
Yeah, and so for those watching, as we get into it, this event on April 29th, a great opportunity from 6 to 8 to find out what the Forget Me Not Horse Rescue and Sanctuary is all about. But so before we go any further, when someone asks you that question, when they see you, so what is your guys' organization all about? What do you do? What do you tell them?
Well, I tell them that we are an organization that started out to be a rescue for horses that were in distress, that people didn't want, that were injured, abandoned, and all that. And my goal was to take in the horses that people throw away that need help and make them better, hopefully find them homes if they're able to be. If not, have the part of the sanctuary, and they stay there until they pass.
And it's been amazing what's happened. How many years ago did you get this started?
Oh, it's been about 25 years.
25 years, and over those years, there's been massive growth. And over the last couple of years, you guys have went through a crazy expansion. So talk about the new facility and what you guys are able to do now.
Well, I don't know how we got to be so lucky, but we had the rescue was originally at my house with a small 2-stall barn, and we would have small events a couple times a year. Well, we had a guy show up from Osage Beach that talked to us, walked around, and we didn't know him. And he came back and about a year later and wanted to build us a hay barn, which is what we really needed. And he gave us the money for that. So it's a 60 by 160.
It's huge.
It's huge. And we even built onto it this year. So we had a place to keep the hay from getting bad. And then he came back the next spring and said, you need a new barn. You need a barn. So he ended up building a 34,000 square foot equestrian center. And so we've got stalls, we've got anything that a horse needs for medical treatment, for training. We've got an indoor arena, outdoor arena, and just everything that we could possibly dream of, and as well as offices and a kitchen for events and big lobby where you could come in and just sit in there and watch the horses being worked in the arena.
And you can see some of the video as she says that. And this video is from the annual Holiday with the Horses,
Yes.
which is one of the events you guys do. That every year, it's during the winter season. You guys
Right.
provide an incredible environment for the kids, but you guys are adding some really cool programs. Talk about Connie's Kids program.
Okay, this is for children from ages 4 to 7. And it's going to be, our trainer there is going to be giving a riding lesson to the kids that want to do that. They'll get instructions on how to brush and care for a horse, and maybe even help us clean a stall or two if they want to do that. We have refreshments for them. So it's going to be like a cute little thing for small kids that don't always get, able to get involved.
Yeah, that's really cool. I know something Brinley would love. Of course, she's not old enough yet, but that 4 to 7 age group, that'd be awesome. And you can watch the Facebook and the website for upcoming dates. So that's going to be something you guys do throughout the summer.
Well, that's coming this summer. We haven't got a date on that yet, but we will have it on our Facebook and our website, so it'll be out and about when we do get a date and get
Very
everything
cool.
planned for that. And then we're hosting the School of the Osage Elementary Summer School students there this year too. And that'll be June the 14th and the 28th. So we'll have quite a number of kids that'll be coming out there, older of course, that hopefully have an interest in horses, which a lot of kids do. And just show them around, show them exactly what we do and why we do it, and what our facility really is.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And then, of course, you guys host other things like the Easy Riders 4-H Club comes out Wednesday and Saturdays.
Right.
And so you guys are a facility that also is looking for incorporating events and other organizations
Right.
that want to come get involved with horses in the
Right.
Forget-Me-Not Horse Rescue and Sanctuary. Now, something I saw on the list of bullets, Connie, was that currently there's some rescue horses that are looking for their forever homes. And so before you answer this question about how we can find out and look into that, how many horses can your guys' facility maintain at one or house at one time? And what's the most you guys have ever had?
Well, we have over 130 acres. So we have about 175 horses right now. And a lot of those are older horses that can't be ridden, have various medical problems, which we've taken in to just give them a good quality of life until they pass.
Yeah.
But we do get some really nice rideable horses in, and we have several right now that are for adoption. And we've got quarter horses, thoroughbreds, and a mix of what we have for adoption. Some miniatures even. We got some little mini ponies for somebody that just wants a pet to brush and love on.
Yeah.
But we get a little bit of everything, and we have people calling all the time telling us that they have horses that they can't keep any longer, and would we take them? And of course that is geared just to the space that we have at that time. Yeah. We took in a Percheron and a Belgian last week.
Wow, I don't know what that means. Are those rare horses?
They're big.
Big
The
horses?
Percheron, is really big. It's like a Clydesdale almost. And we do have a Clydesdale, by the way.
Wow. And so there's all varieties out there. And so tell us where you guys are located so people that want to come visit can come see you guys.
Okay, we're located off of A Highway in Osage Beach, or Link Creek. And you go down to A Road, you get to Lowell Williams Road, and then you go about a mile and make a right on Heritage. And when you turn off, you'll see it.
Yeah, and there, the GPS takes you right there. There's great signage on the way out there. Another thing, real quick, also needing volunteers willing to come out, 2 to 3 hour sessions, at least one day a week. There's a couple of different shifts, 8 to 11, and there's also an afternoon shift, 3 to 5. I want to encourage everybody to go to the website, MissouriForgetMeNot.org, and that way you guys can find out more, plug in. And Connie, before we let you go, is there anything else you want to tell people that might be watching?
Well, we have we're mostly volunteers still, which we're blessed with a lot of retired people that come out. They can't work every day, but they'll give me a day or two a week that they can give us 3 hours, say, and that really helps us. So if there's anyone out there that has some spare time that would like to work outside or love horses, or even if you're not familiar with horses, we've got people that can help us with other things. You pick your own schedule, your own days, and that would help us a lot.
Awesome. Well, Miss Connie, thank you so much for your time, and keep up the great work you guys are doing. I am so excited about Holiday with the Horses again coming up this winter.
Yes, it's going to be great. Santa Claus will be there again.
which I cannot wait for. All right, so that's Connie Hendricks-Jones with the Missouri Forget-Me-Not Horse Rescue and Sanctuary. When we return, J.R. Hartenstein going to get an opportunity to talk about the Topsider condos and some of the things going on with his business.
Winter, spring, summer, or fall, Lake TV's got it all. We think it's hot stuff when things cool down. We spring into action when things start warming up. Of course, summer is one big, huge shootout on Lake TV. And we fall in love all over again when autumn rolls around. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, Lake TV's got it all.
All right, so as we welcome you back, I gotta say, have you been out to the Horse Rescue and Sanctuary? You gotta get out there. You would really be surprised what they've got going out there. Currently over 150 horses out there they've rescued in our housing. Pretty awesome. All right, so as we move ahead, I want to talk a little bit about Topsider, the incredible condominium development and where that is at, and also find out if there are any units available still. So tell us about Topsider, how long it's been going on, and where the process is at.
Well, we've been going on for about 2.5 years now, and we have building 1 complete, and that's the one you've been seeing as you cross the glazed bridge all these months and years. And building 2 is completely framed. It's got the roof on it. The trades are inside. Plumber's been through there. Electrician is in there. We have the fire suppression guy in there. Obviously, the mechanical guy's done. So we're gonna start insulating the first floor. City's been in and we're ready for drywall. So we're gonna be closing units probably, what is this? This is the beginning of April. I'm going to predict in about less than 2 months, we're gonna be closing first floor of building 2. Building 1 was 8 columns wide. This one's half that. Building 3, they're backfilling the foundation yesterday. So the plumber will probably be out there this weekend. That's only a 3-column building, so it'll go pretty quick. We're probably talking July, August closings. They're pouring the retaining wall / atrium wall for building 4, which is another 4-column building. And we'd like to have all that stuff closed and done by the end of the calendar year. Beginning of 2024, building 5, which takes us to the bridge. We'd like to have those units closed and the resort-style swimming pool absolutely done and out of there Memorial Day 2024.
And so now's a great time. If you have looked at those properties and thought, oh my goodness, I'd love to settle down at Lake of the Ozarks. How is that possible?
Well, topsidercondos.com has a lot of contact information there. You can always stop by the sales office model unit at Building 1. And we're there if the wacky flailing inflatable arm tube men are out front dancing. Manny, Mo, and Jack. Yeah, if they're out there dancing.
They're named Manny, Mo, and Jack.
Yeah, from Pet Boys.
I love it.
Yeah. If they're dancing, we're there.
That's awesome. Man, I'm telling you, and that is went up when you guys got to the point where it started being built. It just seemed like boom. It was up. And I'm telling you, it's really, really pretty. And that's not the only new development right there by that bridge. Of course, you're plenty aware of the Lakeport with Marriott coming in and a 50,000 square foot retractable roof water park. Sounds insane, right? So what do you make of some of these crazy new developments and the outlet mall being purchased? I mean, you think this is all good, or you join with some of the locals who are fighting and resistant to change and don't love the TIF element?
Well, my opinion is cities by nature grow on their own organically, so I don't mind growth. If people want to come here, great. If the casino wants to come, that's okay with me. Oasis, great. I just don't like us putting our thumb on the scale. I suggest we pull the plug on convention and visitors bureaus, chambers of commerce. Just let this thing grow naturally. I mean, to what ends are these people laboring every day to bring people here when we have 5-lane highways running through here and a lot of murder and and a doorknob shop on every corner? Is that where we're trying to go? I mean, just let this thing grow organically. That would be my thing. But as far as Oasis, I'm pretty excited about it. I have condos there personally, and from every headboard you will have a view of the Ferris wheel.
Oh man.
So I think it's exciting, and nobody bought at Topsider because they wanted peace and quiet.
That's awesome. That's true too. I mean, that is right in the heart of it. Man, this has been fun. I know we didn't get as much time to talk about. We need to do this again, talk about TIF, what that means, because I'm with you on that. I'm not 100% sold, but I am overly excited about the prospect of seeing this development and the Ferris wheel and the water park and the amusement ride is going to be cool. So as we wrap up, don't forget, Chris will be back next week. Appreciate JR with Lake Ozark Real
Thank you for
Estate
having me.
stepping in this week, my friend.
My pleasure.
Make sure you guys give him a call. Check out Topsider Condos. It is
Topsidercondos.com.
Until next week, my friends, thanks for tuning in and joining us for this week's Cup of Coffee.